Hey guys, this is Fergal from PokerVIP. Today we are going to be playing some Jackpot Sit-and-Goes over on ACR. So action is going to be fast and furious today. We're going to be three-tabling the jackpot tournaments, which are basically three-handed hypers where there is a random multiplier assigned at the beginning of each game. So every game has the potential to be for a different amount. So up in the top right, for example, you can see we're playing for $6, top left is $4, bottom left $4. So we will be regging them as we bust. So we're going to be playing a combination of $2 to $3. And as I said, we're going to be having a lot of action on the go today, so it's going to be fairly fast, fairly furious. Hopefully we'll have some decent results and it'll be an entertaining video. Okay, so we're going to start off with a call with the King 6 when we have position down in the bottom left table. We whiffed the flop pretty hard, so we're just going to go ahead and fold this when this guy comes out betting. He only bets half pot, but we could consider floating, but I just think it's unnecessary. Our general strategy is we are going to be seeing flops relatively light when we have position there, when we are facing a blind versus blind raise. As the blinds increase, we will be looking to move all of the chips in the middle fairly wide and taking down as many pots as possible pre-flop. And then if we get the money in post, then so be it, we'll have at it. Ace-9 is going to be a raise from the button. And the deuce and the tray. We are going to be seeing, as I said, we're going to be seeing flops pretty wide, but certainly not this wide, and he's jammed all in anyway, so we're going to go ahead and let this go. The ace and the king, we will bring it in for a raise. We're not planning on folding this hand, obviously, if he comes back over the top. He goes ahead and he flats, and we see one of the worst flops possible, really, for the ace-king. It's a very well-connected board. It's very difficult for him to have absolutely nothing here. And we're going to be drawn pretty slim pretty frequently. So we're just going to go ahead and make an irritating fold, but a necessary one, unfortunately. The Jack 4, again, going back to what I was talking about earlier on, we will be seeing flops pretty wide, and this is going to be a call. We're getting 3 to 1, we're closing the action, and we have absolute position. So while our hand is absolute trash, we are going to go ahead and see a flop. He checks to us. We're going to go ahead and fire one and done on this, see if we can get him to fold any hand that is A, ahead of us, or B, has random equity against us. If Jack High is somehow ahead, and we might even fold out some kind of low pocket pair. If he has, like, say, pocket 2s, he might just go ahead and check fold here. He goes ahead and he finds the fold, which is fine by us. The ace-8, we have a decision up at the top left. This is pretty close between a call and a fold. I'm going to go ahead and fold, but that potentially could have been a call. I'll need to... My hyper strategy isn't 100% in those kinds of spots. That's going to be very, very close between a call and a fold. The king and the 10 we are going to be ripping from the button. We take that down without a fight, which is fine by us. If we do get called there, it's unlikely that we're going to be in fantastically good shape, but we just have a hand with too good equity to consider doing anything else with it, really. And ace-8, similar situation up at the top right table. We're just going to go ahead and rip it. We do get called here, so we have a fair fight. So ace-8 versus the pocket 7s. Let's see if we can win a flip. He gets the 7 on the river, which busts us. So we're going to go ahead and close out of this one, and we'll have another one starting back up there now fairly shortly. So we're going to be playing, as I said, a combination of $2 and $3. The $3 actually has a potential, obviously a not unlikely potential, but a potential nonetheless, of spinning up into a WSOP main event entry, which would be very exciting. Pocket 10s down at the bottom left table. No scenario here we're ever considering a fold, so if this guy rips, we're snap calling and expecting to be comfortably ahead of his overall range. So we shall see what comes to be. Really upsetting getting the walk there with the 10 and the 10. Obviously not what we wanted at all, but hey. And we're going to check here with the 10 deuce and see a free flop. The $3 ones don't seem to be registering all that often, so we're going to go ahead and just get another game up and running. Oh no, the $3 one did reg. And it is a $6. So unfortunately, the 2x multiplier is the lowest, and the multipliers then go up from there. So you can see all of the various different prizes that are possibly there to be assigned. 8-9, going to be a fold. And the 7 tray up in the top left is also going to be a fold. So these kinds of games, they are super fun, they're super addictive, and the general standard of play, especially in the lower buy-in ones, is absolutely god-awful, so there is definitely some serious money to be made. The variance in them is obviously quite high, because A, they're hypers, and B, a lot of it is reliant on how good a spin you get, basically, which is outside of your control. But obviously it's quite exciting having the potential to win a sick amount of money. And as I said, you can have some pretty serious edges in them as well. So with the ace tray up in the top left table, we're just going to go ahead and rip over the small blind limp. Get called by the king and the jack, which is fine by us. The king gets there unfortunately on the turn, and he gets there on the river for added bonuses. And we're going to sit at that one. We actually have another one up and running here. This one's an $8 one, so our first 4x multiplier of the day. And we're going to have a pretty close call here at the king queen 6. I opted to, sorry, actually timed out. I was going to fold anyway, but that was relatively close between a call and a fold. And the 10 deuce suited, we will just be folding. When this guy is so short, we only got 10 bigs, he's going to be getting the money in pretty wide. It's just going to be a mistake jamming 10 deuce suited here when he's going to be calling so correctly against our range. We go for the steal with the suited king in the top left table, and we get jammed on, so we're just going to go ahead and fold. This is going to be a two-part series, so we're going to be playing in total. We're going to be registering for about an hour in total. Hopefully we can bink our way into a nice little multiplier and turn some solid profit for the session. A7, blinds are starting to get a little bit big. We've got like just over 12 bigs. We're just going to go ahead and rip from the button. And we're going to see a flop here when we're getting quite a good price with the offsuit one gapper. We flop middle pair, and we're not going to be folding to a single bet, that is for damn sure. So we're going to start this off with a check and a call. Safe river. Realistically, if he has a king here, we are going to be going broke pretty frequently. Ace isn't a very good card, but I don't think we're going to be planning on folding here. Hopefully this just goes check check though, which it does. I don't know why I wasn't just all in here on the top right table. I was paying attention to the other hand. This is a really trivial jam pre-flop. We're going to start this off with a check. I'm not planning on folding if he jams, but he checks back, which is kind of surprising. We're just going to check and call and hope that this guy has any bluffs in his range. I don't think he's ever going to call for a chop there unless he has it. Like if he has a king, he's never folding. And if he doesn't have a king, I think he's folding pretty much always. So I think our best chance of getting paid there is by checking to him and hoping that he does take a stab. Well, unfortunately, he did not. We're going to rip the jack and the 9 suited. And the king tray will be a fold. Get called by a queen and a 9, which is pretty upsetting, obviously. Out of all the hands that can call us, that's one of the most upsetting ones because it has us in such rough shape. But you know, we're gonna get folds through there copiously large amounts of the time, and when we do get called, we'll have reasonable equity a lot of the time. Obviously, queen 9, one of the hands that we're in very, very bad shape against. But hey, these things, they're gonna happen in these types of jackpot games, and they're gonna happen again and again. Can't let it get you down. We just gotta push on through. As long as we're making the correct decisions on an ongoing basis, then we will continue turning a profit in these games. Queen 7, we cannot call an all in. And the 7, we're going to be jamming incredibly wide here with the blinds at 60 rather, but tray 7 suited is just going to be not quite good enough. Pocket 8s though, definitely good enough for a jam. And ace queen, what a sight for sore eyes. Easy jam here for just over 4 bigs. And an ace and a king. We're picking up some hands now. No action with the ace queen, but that increase to our stack is definitely not insignificant, so we do not mind it at all. 9 queen, we're not planning on folding here when we have almost a little over 1/6 of our stack in. And ace-jack suited up in the top left, easy raise as well. And no action again, so we've pushed ourselves into the chip lead over in the top left table. So we're going to have to call off here with the queen and the 9. Let's see what we're up against. We are up against the queen and the 9. Fair fight, no hearts please, and we'll chop it up. Top left table here, we are getting 5-1 on our money. We don't have a very good hand to go multi-way to the flop with, but it's just too good a price to consider folding, so we're going to go ahead and call. We're at the stage of the tournament where we can see some flops and not be kind of automatically committed. These kinds of tournaments, they get very fast, very furious. As you can see, the blinds go up quite quickly, so you end up in a situation where you're in kind of push or fold mode. Like in the bottom left table here, any king on the button here, we're going to be ripping for 5 bigs. Definitely don't want a caller here, but if we do, again, we'll have a decent-ish equity a reasonable chunk of the time. So I mean here, like that's an absolutely fine hand for him to see. Pretty upsetting flop, but a fantastic turn and river, giving us the double. We'll take it. So when the money went in there in the flop, we had like very reasonable equity. Obviously, we would have preferred just to get the fold through, but we get the double, and that's fine by us as well. 4-9, not going to be good enough. If this guy, although actually if this guy goes all in, it's going to be a very, very small amount of chips. I'll need to see the exact mathematics there. We might actually have to call off here, which isn't great, but just one of those things where we kind of have to do what the pot odds dictate us to do. So we're calling 166. We're getting almost 2-1, but not quite. If he had a little bit less chips, I'd be making this call. We call here incredibly wide. This is just not quite good enough, though. And we're going to be all in here with any ace. We get called, and we're up against a king and a 7. Let's see if we can hold. Not a good start. And he gets there. So we are busto from this tournament. We will write another one. Yes, please, ACR. Yes, please. So the flips have not been going our way so far. We have won 1, but we have also lost several. We're going to start this off with a wager, just because we can fold out a lot of his just random hands that have equity against us and are ahead of us as well. A lot of his high card hands are beating us currently. So if we get any folds there, it's going to be a solid bluff. 10 jack going to be good enough to rip here for 14-ish bigs. And the ace-8 suited definitely going to be all in blind versus blind as well. Easy jam at T880. And oh, things are looking up for our flipping. The 10 and the jack gets there, outruns the ace-9. We'll take it. We're not quite, like obviously we're still somewhat deep stacked here with starting off with 25 bigs, so we don't have to be in push or fold mode over on the top right table. We have pocket sixes and we have 666 chips. Is it a sign? Let's hope so. Janksta is thinking about it. He goes ahead and calls. We just need to hold. It's a good start, good turn, and a good river. Wonderful news. I'm going to jam our suited king on the button here in the top left table. So it looks like we're going to be in a good shape to win the $8 one, which is our biggest spin, which is definitely going to be a nice one if we can win it. If this guy wants to dance, we will be all in with any ace versus his jam. Or if he just limps, we're going to be jamming over the limp. Really trivial call here. We're ahead of chunks of his range, so let's go ahead and see what he has. He wakes up with the queen and the queen. We're drawn to a 10 and a 10 only. We don't get there. We still have absolutely fine equity here, though, of course. Any pair, easy jam on the bottom left table as well, of course. We're going to jam the 9-7 offsuit up in the top left as well. Definitely didn't want to get called this time. We get called really light. That's upsetting for us. And we hit a pair, but that pair gives him a better hand in the form of a straight. So we are in pretty rough shape now. And easy all in. I thought that was a jam, but it wasn't. So this will be a pretty upsetting one if we lose this one. We just run the 8s into the kings. That was a pretty devastating heads-up battle there versus that dude, but hey, these things happen. Yes, we would like to play again, please, ACR. So we have yet to win a tournament. We've been playing for 15 minutes. We've played, I'm not even sure how many I don't think we've busted that many. We've busted like maybe 3 or 4, I would guess. But I thought that $8 one was a banker to win when we had that big a chip lead. But unfortunately, we got a little unlucky. I mean, maybe we didn't play overly well either. We might have made a couple of mistakes, but nah. I don't think any of our plays can ever be looked as drastically wrong. And we managed to get the Jack and the 7 in, dominating him, which is pretty unlikely. So we get 1 win under our belt. We'll take it, and we'll line up a second one. So for now, while we're waiting for the other tournaments to kick off, we will just have a single table on the go, so things will just relax just for a little bit, which we won't mind. And actually, we'll register another $3 one here as well. So if that one starts first, we'll have 2 up and running. No action with our top set, which is not what we wanted, but there was enough draws and enough hands that he can see a turn with there that warranted a wager. So that's what we did. Ace 8, we get 3 callers, which is not what we wanted at all. We are going to fire once here and give up if we get any caller, unless we hit an ace, in which case we ain't going to be folding. And we have to fold now, which is a bit unfortunate. We get away with a really cheap bluff there, so I feel that that is going to be a solid wager in the long run. When we're facing 2 people, I don't think people are going to get too tricky with the king on board. If they can't beat a king, I think usually people are just going to go ahead and let that one go. But he called and he just kind of let out and jammed the turn. He almost certainly has at least a king there in his range. I'd be pretty surprised if he ever shows a stone cold bluff or anything like that. So we just get out of the way, no harm, no foul. Going to be all in with the suited king for just over 11 bigs, 11.5 big blinds. Effective, I mean, not my stack. So we need to win a flip. That's a great start. Not a great turn, but a fine river. So we're up to 850 chips, and we bust out a player, so we are heads up over in the top right table. We go for the min raise with the Jack 9. We get jammed on. We're still quite deep here. We're definitely not going to be calling off Jack 9 offsuit here in the heads up battle just yet. Forever, if our stack is low enough there, where if we have Jack 9 off that we're going to be jamming, then we're going to be calling a jam. We're just going to be open jamming ourselves. An ace and an ace over in the top left table. Let's go, dealer. Not the best of flops, but I mean, we're not planning on folding aces here. We have the backdoor heart draw to go along with our hand in case it's not still ahead. We will have the best hand pretty frequently here, though, of course. We're just going to keep betting here, and we're going to be all in on most rivers. The 5, I mean, if he has a 5 here, it's upsetting. We're not folding here, though. So he has the 4 and the 7. We got 2s in versus 6s, heads up over the top right table. We are down to 20 chips. We are in pretty rough shape. And that ends our chance at an epic comeback. Not too big a deal though. And we're going to register another $2 over the, rather than one of the WSOP ones. I accidentally timed out of one of the tables there. I don't think we missed any sort of significant hand though, so we're not going to be too sad about it. We still have a pair of 5s over in this top left table. It does rate to be the best hand pretty frequently, I think. In terms of getting value though, it's going to be pretty tricky to get paid by worse. We are going to min bet here, see if we can get called by ace high, I guess. And it also serves as a blocker bet if someone has a 9 or a 7 that they want to start betting in a larger scale themselves. I don't think anyone ever has a king. Seems incredibly unlikely. So we get called by queen high, which is fine by me. And And we have another third table back up and running over on the top right now. Queen 9, we get a walk, I don't mind that. 8-5 suited, we will just be folding. We were going to fold it anyway, but obviously when this guy just open jams, it's a lot more trivial. I'm going to limp in here with the Queen 7, see how this guy responds to open limps. There's no harm getting a feel for how these players react to these types of moves early on. And we flop top pair on the bottom left table. Obviously not a fantastically good board, but it is a board we will bet nonetheless. I will have a small wager here with the Queen 7, just try to get fold out his random undercards that have some equity against us. There is value in doing so. I'm going to be all in here with the Queen 10 suited. I get snap-called. And we are dominated, but we hit the card that dominates us. Let's see if we can hold. We do not. So we are busto from the $8. The king and the jack offsuit, pretty easy open. We're not going to fold here if this guy re-raises. And we're pretty easy call here, heads up with the ace-9. Let's see if we can get our first win under our belts. Oh no, sorry, our second win. We did win one already, I believe. He gets there with a 10 on the turn, but we managed to bink on the river and pick it up. So we got the money with the best hand, of course, so it's just a bit of a roller coaster. So we're back down to just a single table for now. We'll register a couple more and we'll have them up and running in no time. Okay, so we get a check call from Janksta over on the top right. Definitely not a very good turn that when he wants to start leading into us. Kind of surprised that he leads here. It doesn't seem to make too much sense. Honestly, I mean, I just don't see him taking this line with value, so I'm going to put him on a bluff and go for the jam and see if we can get him to fold. If we get called, I mean, we still have overcards. Just seems unlikely that he takes this line with value. And he leads the jack-10, which, I mean, really surprises me. It just doesn't make any sense to me, but I mean, he got us to do something dumb, I guess, so well played, but I figured just check to the razor. When I have so many bluffs in my range there that just bet that size on the flop, when he improves the top pair, it just doesn't really make sense that he starts leading to me, but we're not going to worry too much about it. I think trying to overthink these things is a recipe for disaster more often than not, so maybe I was a victim of leveling myself there. But not a big deal, as I said. We're not going to worry too much about it in a $2 jackpot. So, we're going to win this $8. That is what I have decided. We do not have a choice. Or alternatively, we can bink a nice little multiplier over here and win that one as well. That would be fine by me as well. We do not. So, we're going to call with Queen 9 suited to start this off. We're going to float this flop, and when he checks, we're just going to go ahead and take the initiative and have a wager ourselves, and hopefully he check folds, which he does. We don't mind that at all. We're going to rejam with the Queen Jack over in the top right table. And we take that one down, so we chip up a little bit, obviously not too significant at this stage. So far we haven't been doing too well. I don't have a feel for how we are overall, but I would imagine we are certainly down some money for the session, but nothing that can't be recouped, of course. We're going to be registering for, we're going to release this in 2 different parts. So we're going to be finishing up this part in about 5 minutes. Enough for a few more episodes, or for a few more tournaments, should I say. And we'll have part 2 then rocking up as well, coming straight after. So they're just going to be recorded back-to-back, direct continuations on. So if we end up with the tournament still on the go, you guys will get to see how it finishes in part 2. And we'll continue registering, of course, throughout part 2 as well. Ace-Jack, we're just going to rip it here versus the couple of limpers. So we're slowly but surely chipping up. Again, nothing too substantial, but we're up 150 chips from the starting stack of 500. And we're going to be back all in again with the ace and the 10 versus Janksters Open. Jamming for 20 bigs effective. And we haven't dominated with the 9-10, but he binks the 9 on the flop. See if we can get an ace, which we do. And we are now heads up versus Lero. That was a awful call off with the 8-10. It's just an unnecessary call off there in my book. There are a lot better hands that you can elect to make those calls if you think I'm doing it light with. Calling off 9-10 offsuit there is way too wide. So we're going to start this off with a min raise. We still have reasonably deep effective stacks, so raise folding is fine. I don't want to start open limping this at this stack depth just yet. We get insta jammed on, so it's pretty trivial fold obviously with that raggedy a hand. We're going to be all in here. Kind of wish he'd opened rather than limped, but we're still going to go ahead and just jam ourselves. Queen and a queen. Obviously we're not planning on doing any folding here. So this guy's 3xing from his stack, which just seems terrible bad to me because it's just really unnecessary. He's just risking that a little bit more than he needs to with his opens. So unless he's doing that based on his kind of hand strength, it seems bad to me. We're going to limp to Jack-6, see how he responds to the open limps at these points now. And we're going to fold when he goes for the raise. So we have a tidy chip lead, but obviously if we double him one time, then we flip around our positions, so he has a 2-to-1 chip lead on us then. I'm going to continue the limp. Just because he raised the first limp doesn't mean that that's going to be his strategy all the time, obviously. I'm going to check king high here just because we actually have a reasonable amount of showdown value. And we now have top pair with a weak flush draw. And we now have a full house, which is pretty good. I don't see much merit in raising here. It seems like we are only ever going to get called by an 8 or a king. It seems incredibly unlikely that he calls worse here. So we're just going to make it, like, it's particularly nitty, I know that, but as I said, it's just, I mean, like, yeah, he has 9 trades, so he's either, I don't think he's betting his, his worst full houses, and I certainly don't think he's bet calling them. And it just means that, so on the off chance that he does have the 8, we're just kind of value owning ourselves. We're going to be chopping there quite a considerable amount of the time. And when he does have his bluffs, we don't get to see what kind of hands he's electing to turn into a bluff. So there's definitely value in knowing that he has like 9 tray and stuff like that in that instance. That he will take a stab with the 0 equity hands. We're going to take a stab at this pot and see if we can get him to fold. We do not. He goes for the min raise. We're just going to fold. Obviously, we've got a random junky 10 high. Even if he's bluffing, he's still likely doing it with the best hand. So trying to do anything funky there seems like a recipe for disaster. And we have a third tournament up and running. And we're just going to jam the ace-9 here. King-7 suited here. We would not be planning on folding that strong a hand for this stack depth. Pocket 9s, not folding either. We are all in yet again. We got called this time, definitely don't mind that. And he has the ace and the 4. Unfortunately, he flops the ace. Queen for a chop. Nope. So, oh, we did chop there. Did we? I thought it was a queen that we needed. I must have misread that board there. We'll take it. We will take it. Obviously, we would have preferred to get the bust, but I mean, when he flops the ace, we definitely don't mind the board running out to chop it up. King and a king. We're just going to continue. If we limp here, I just think it looks incredibly suspicious, so we're just going to jam the kings. He has the pocket trays. He flops an open ender, which is not what we wanted to see, and we get there. Or we hold, should I say. So we'll take it. We'll take it. And on that note, we are actually we'll make this call and then we'll wrap up the video. So ace 9, we're not planning on, or ace jack rather, we're not planning on folding here versus the open jam. Let's see if we can win a flip. Pretty good turn and a fine river. Alright guys, that's part 1. As I said, we're going to kick off part 2 pretty much straight away. There might be a minor gap in the interim while I get the record software set up and so on, but to see how the tournaments conclude and for us to continue registering for another half hour, make sure you tune in. Any questions, queries, comments, anything like that, of course, leave them in the relevant sections in the social media. I'll endeavour to get back to you if you have any questions about any spots that came up or anything like that. Thank you very much for watching guys, and I'll be back very soon with part 2. Take care.